One of the first things we see Peridot doing is crushing one of our weakened robots without remorse, shocking Steven.
I'm bored, I'm gonna kill you!
Peridot has to be the most interesting out of the 3 homeworld gems, although I know that's very debatable. It's clear that the Universe chose to show her the most love though. Her redemption arc had a ton of care put into it. We got to see Peridot in an incredibly vulnerable state as she slowly had her entire outlook on life challenged and put into question by the crystal gems, and it was next level. But do you guys remember when Peridot was actually terrifying? I'm talking about a time before she was being used primarily as comedic relief.
You.
A time before she was getting emotionally abused on a regular basis by Lapis.
This is low even for you!
A time before she was being pulled out every time the show wanted to have a villain of a week episode.
Team Rocket's blasting off again!
We were first introduced to Peridot in the season 1 episode. The episode starts with Pearl and Amethyst flirting with each other on their way home after completing a mission.
And the way you were circling around it almost looked like strategy.
Ooh la la! Ooh la la!
Well, you know, I can do that stuff too.
Ooh la la!
On the warp ride home, Steven, because of an allergic reaction from the flowers, sneezes himself outside of a warp stream, and for a brief moment, he sees an unknown entity using the warp pad technology at the same time as them. Garnet gives us another moment that puts the usefulness of her future vision in question, when she completely denies the possibility of Steven actually seeing something outside of a warp stream.
I know there's something out there!
There's nothing out there, Steven.
But you're wrong.
You what?
Steven reasonably doesn't have any luck falling asleep that night because of what he saw earlier and becomes incredibly paranoid. Amethyst, seeing an opportunity to have some fun with Steven's declining mental health, decides to add fuel to the fire and secures her place as the best gem on the show.
Are you scared of that thing you saw warping right into the house and attacking you in your sleep?
The crystal gems find Steven next to the door the next morning and decides to be supportive towards him, making the decision to use the warp pad to prove to Steven that he has nothing to worry about.
Listen, nothing on Earth can use the warps but us.
A few moments later.
Nod in agreement.
I'm confident Pearl is right.
But you're wrong.
After Steven has a ridiculously awesome argument with Pearl, the crystal gems cave and take him to the galaxy warp, which leads to another ridiculously awesome argument with Pearl.
This warp pad is broken!
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost.
Eventually, Steven gives up on his obsession with what he saw earlier outside of a warp stream, and just when he admits defeat, he gets his confirmation. Steven follows the robot onto the warp pad, and he gets tossed outside of a warp stream when he gets ambushed by a large number of them.
And now, I'm gonna die.
When all hope seemed lost for Steven, Garnet's future vision finally kicks in and she warps into the exact location needed to rescue him. The crystal gems reach the location that all of the mysterious robots were heading to, just in time to see them successfully completing the mission and repairing the central homeward warp pad, leading us to Peridot's honestly menacing debut. One of the first things we see Peridot doing is crushing one of her weakened robots without remorse, shocking Steven. Peridot hurriedly leaves though when she finds a sticker placed on the warp pad by Steven, causing the rest of the gems to start panicking at the thought of another homeward invasion, and you can feel the raw fear coming from each of them.
Few moments later.
She's not coming back.
But you're wrong.
The next time we get a glimpse of Peridot is in the episode Marble Madness. In the episode, Peridot keeps sending more robots to Earth, except this time they're supersized. And the crystal gems for some reason kept describing them in the most uncomfortable way possible.
Stop coming here, you stupid balls! They just keep coming, and we don't even know what they are! We don't know anything!
The crystal gems, tired of destroying these robots, decide to listen to one of Steven's plans and follow them to its destination, leading them to the kindergarten. Peridot, following up on reactivating the kindergarten, shows up, this time on a big screen but just as intimidating.
Is she trying to reactivate the kindergarten? Doesn't she know it'll destroy all life on Earth?
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Steven straight up interrupts Peridot's workflow, and we finally get to see their first interaction together.
Hi, I'm Steven.
Peridot then drops one of the coldest lines on the show before attempting to mercilessly crush Steven.
Just picking up where we left off.
The Crystal Gems, left with no choice, step out of the shadows in order to save Steven's life and battle Peridot head on.
But yeah, this was a pretty bad idea.
The last time we see Peridot while she still has her dignity is in the season 1 penultimate episode titled The Return, when fittingly, she returns to Earth with backup. Jasper 100% steals the show during this episode, but it's undeniable that Peridot still kept up with her intensity just fine. Now we have no choice but to assume that the Crystal Gems from the very beginning figured out that a gem slave was trapped in the mirror, and for some reason, instead of bubbling it, which is the least cruel thing to do, chose to hand it over to Pearl in order for her to keep it as a tool of her own.
You three knew I was in there.
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Lapis Lazuli is a super interesting gem, but there are still so many aspects of her character and existence that leave me scratching my head, still to this day. We're first introduced to Lapis in the season 1 episode. Steven, after finding out that school is a thing, goes to Pearl in order for them to start a school of their own, but things don't go as planned.
Who will teach little Stevie now?
Pearl summons a mirror with her Lapis Lazuli trapped in the back of it that she found at the Galaxy Warp. She explains to Steven that it can capture and display any event that it has personally witnessed.
It can capture and display any event it's witnessed in all of gem history.
I have a ton of problems with this already. We know because of a season 3 episode titled Same Old World that Pearl's explanation of where she found Lapis makes sense. But let's take a look at something interesting that Lapis says in Same Old World.
I was only meant to visit for a short time, but I got caught in the middle of the war.
Lapis was supposed to be visiting Earth for a short time. Why exactly was she supposed to be visiting for a short time? Yellow Diamond would have you believe that Lapis Lazuli has an incredibly important role in the process of gem conquest.
A Lapis Terrapon?
I bring all of this up because how in the world did Pearl not know what a Lapis Lazuli's gemstone looks like? The thing isn't exactly hidden on the mirror. Alright, so Lapis says that she was accidentally taken down and confused for a crystal gem and then used as a tool for information in order for them to find the location of rose quartz. That makes sense, except for the fact that she wasn't wearing the Crystal Gem Rebellion star symbol at the time. But I can look past that, it was a war after all, things got crazy. Amethyst fine, but I can't grasp how it's possible for Pearl to know everything about how the mirror works, just like the Homo gems, except for the fact that a living gem was needed to power the thing.
You didn't tell me it's like a person.
Wait, what?
That's what the kids call epic fail.
Later on in the episode, listen to what Pearl is concerned about when she learns that the mirror is showing signs of having a personality.
It shouldn't be able to do that. It should only be following orders.
What kind of sick, twisted reaction is this? It should only be following orders? In context to everything that we learn later on, what are we supposed to think of the crystal gems after this scene?
Steven, it's just a mirror, a tool. It can't want anything.
This is coming from Ruby and Sapphire. We literally have confirmation that at least these two know what a Lapis Lazuli looks like. Sapphire was a higher up gem, and Rubies were guards that were tasked with guarding various gems, including the higher ups. Gems that could have been terraformers perhaps. At the end of the episode, Lapis says this to Steven after she's freed.
You three knew I was in there.
This doesn't make any sense. There ain't no way the crystal gems knew that a gem was trapped in this mirror from the very beginning. According to everything I've already pointed out, the bizarre way they all acted, their reactions, and the fact that Pearl handed Steven the mirror in the first place with glee. But let's try to take all of this in at face value. Now we have no choice but to assume that the crystal gems from the very beginning figured out that a gem slave was trapped in the mirror, and for some reason, instead of bubbling it, which is the least cruel thing to do, chose to hand it over to Pearl in order for her to keep it as a tool of her own.
Yeah, let's bubble it.
You should have thought of that earlier.
Most likely they thought it was an enemy soldier homo gem from the war, but we've already gone over why that wouldn't make any sense or line up with everything we learn later on. But anyway, we have to assume further that Pearl also knew that the lapis lazuli in particular was trapped inside of a mirror. This mirror appears to be specifically made for lapis lazulis, which makes sense according to what we learn later on and background details.
Thank you. It's like a mirror.
It was thousands of years ago.
Lapis lazuli seem to have some kind of unique connection to mirrors. When Lapis shows Steven her backstory, Steven brings up the detail that the surface that she was using resembled a mirror. Her cracked gem form also gave her reflective eyes, something we know is unique to only lapis lazulis, while comparing it to Amethyst's cracked form.
Amethyst! I'm sorry.
Let me know if you guys have a different interpretation for why the crystal gems kept the mirror, and why Lapis seems so sure that they knew she was trapped in the mirror yet chose to keep her imprisoned. This is why the fandom was so divided on who the real abuser is. It's just a big disgusting mess.
I've had a good chuckle over that one. I'm coming after you.
Lapis lazuli is probably the most controversial gem in Steven Universe. Everything she did on the show just felt so off, but now that it's all said and done, let's take a look back and figure out once and for all if Lapis was a good person. Lapis was trapped on Earth inside of a mirror and used as a tool for at least 5,000 years, and that would have definitely impacted her mental state. When she was finally freed and made her escape off planet, she was brought right back to the same prison, the same planet that she was trapped on by Peridot and Jasper.
You disgusting creature.
Because of this, Lapis grew an intense hatred for Peridot and Jasper, one that I hope we can all agree would have been justifiable up until this point in the show. Now let's get into everything that Lapis does afterwards. Jasper and Peridot were successful in capturing the crystal gems and took them on board the handship as prisoners, along with Lapis herself. Eventually, through Steven's persistence, the gems end up all escaping and crashing the handship on the beach. Jasper emerges from the wreckage, catching the gems off guard, but one thing that is important to note is that Garnet just finished dealing this kid the beating of her life. She doesn't have a gem destabilizer, and to top it all off, Pearl, Amethyst and Lion are here for backup just in case she somehow outmatches Garnet.
I'm in danger!
Lapis emerges from the wreckage as well, however, and Jasper takes the opportunity to manipulate Lapis into fusing with her, or so we thought.
Just say yes.
A few moments later.
Stupid or something.
Lapis was apparently in control of the situation the entire time. She fused with Jasper in order to trap her on Earth and help Steven like he once helped her. Looking back at this as a fan, it's awesome. It works so well as the season 1 finale, and Malachi's design is really cool. But looking back at this from a character perspective, if any of you can look at me with a straight face and see that fusing with Jasper was the only way to stop her in this moment, after everything that I've just pointed out, then I don't think anything would convince you otherwise.
There was no other way.
But you're wrong.
This is the gem that stole the entire ocean and fended off the crystal gems at the exact same time, all while having a little chat with Steven, and she showcased all of her raw power with a cracked gemstone. The ocean is right there, and the crystal gems are right there. We have to conclude that Lapis chose to fuse with Jasper. But why would she purposely trap herself on Earth for a second time?
Kids these days, I'll tell you what.
After Malachite is defeated and Lapis is freed, she drops a bombshell on Steven in the episode Alone at Sea, where she admits to missing Jasper and enjoying all of their time together.
You don't have to be with Jasper.
A few moments later.
I miss her.
This is an incredibly serious topic. Steven Universe is clearly trying to make a link between Lapis and Jasper's dynamic to a harmful and toxic relationship.
You're pushing your luck, Scoop!
The show completely drops the ball though, because it polarized the entire fandom in a situation that just shouldn't do that. Obviously, we all know that harmful relationships are bad. We also know that abusers are bad. The big and honestly uncomfortable question is, who is the abuser in this situation, Lapis lazuli or Jasper? Actually think it over for a second, because it's not as simple as it might sound, and I promise this video isn't going where you think it's going. The show wants us to view Jasper as the abuser. Lapis confiding in Steven that she misses Jasper in this moment is a common sign of a victim missing the abusive relationship after it's ended.
You only beat me because you're a fusion.
Look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power.
When Jasper returns during the episode, it's also clear that the show has a gaslighting Lapis, another common sign of abusers.
You're a monster.
That's not how it works.
Jasper is most importantly the bigger gem, physically speaking. Then the show pulls a 180 and has Lapis showing signs of abusers as well, admitting that she liked taking out her anger on Jasper.
I was terrible to you.
A few moments later.
I liked taking everything out on you.
You're all sick. Sick in the head.
Not before also having Jasper showing signs of abusers again and saying that she's changed. I hope you can all see the problem here. This is honestly just bad writing.
I am the one who knocks.
This is why the fandom was so divided on who the real abuser is. It's just a big disgusting mess. Steven Universe was an amazing show with phenomenal storytelling, but Lapis and Jasper's dynamic shouldn't have been turned into an allegory for abusive relationships. But that doesn't mean that Lapis is off the hook yet, not even close. Lapis Lazuli post season 2 was nothing short of physically painful to watch. The season 3 premiere, titled Super Watermelon Island, opens with the defeat of Malachite after Steven figures out her location by possessing one of his little watermelon Stevens. Naturally, the defeat of Malachite meant the return of everyone's favorite child suffocator, Lapis Lazuli.
I almost drowned a lot of people.
Now what gives you the right to play God in these people's lives?
Peridot and Jasper captured Lapis and kept her as an informant on their mission to Earth in the season 1 penultimate episode. It makes sense that because of this, along with everything else that Lapis had to go through over the course of 1,000 years, that she'd have a little trouble trusting people. But let me explain why everything that Lapis chooses to do after she's freed and escapes from a fusion with Jasper was wrong. But first, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video so far. It helped me out a lot, thank you. When Lapis finally wakes up from a deep sleep, she makes the hasty decision to leave the band without thanking Steven and the crystal gems. This made sense. While the crystal gems weren't the one to imprison Lapis, Pearl kept her trapped in the mirror while fully knowing that a sentient gem was used to power it. Pearl didn't bubble the mirror, or tried to repair the obvious crack on its gemstone by using Rose's fountain, and it seems like Lapis caught on to at least some of this, so it made sense that she wouldn't want to be around them. Steven finds Lapis on the roof of a barn the very next day though, after she realizes that she can't really go back to Homeworld, especially since she'd have to answer for the disappearances of Jasper and Peridot.
You can totally stay here.
A few moments later.
You don't even have to stay in Beach City if you don't want to.
Now this is the moment where Steven says something really smart that breaks the rest of his entire arc. He reminds Lapis that Earth is a really big place, and even if she chooses to live on Earth, she doesn't necessarily have to stay in Beach City. Heck, considering the fact that gems don't need to eat or sleep, she isn't necessarily forced to live on Earth because there must be countless planets out there that haven't been conquered by Homeworld yet. Steven takes Lapis to see all kinds of places on Earth, and while she's unsure about a lot of them, there are a couple of places that she actually starts opening up to, like Empire City. Their journey eventually leads them to the Galaxy Warp, the place where Lapis was originally locked away inside of a mirror and later found by our very own Pearl. Lapis eventually brings Steven back to the barn and chooses to live on Earth. Everything was moving along smoothly until Lapis realizes that she missed out on Peridot's redemption arc. Steven tries everything that he could think of to get Lapis to forgive Peridot, but nothing works.
I really thought I would be living alone here.
Go on! Get the hell out of here!
The situation escalates to the point where Lapis deliberately breaks Peridot's tape recorder. Steven of course calls Lapis out on this, but she never apologizes to Peridot. This is especially disgusting because Lapis could have chosen to leave a barn at any point during this episode and went off to live somewhere else. Lapis does stop this roaming eye, thus saving Peridot from being discovered by Homeworld, but considering her behavior so far, I'm more inclined to believe that she only stopped this thing because she herself was about to be discovered. After the roaming eye crashes, it's revealed to be a spaceship, surprising everyone. Look, Peridot isn't on trial here or anything, but how did she not know that the roaming eye was actually a Homeworld spaceship? That doesn't make any sense. Peridot is the newest gem in the crystal gems. She's fresh out of Everfree and has only been living on Earth for a few months. Yet she's surprised when the roaming eye is revealed to have a door. We learned that 5 rubies were sent to Earth to find and recover Jasper. Again, the rubies aren't on trial here or anything, but how in the world didn't the roaming eye identify 3 gemstones?
Where's the gem the scanner's locked onto?
What?
We literally see all 5 of the scanners picking up Lapis, Peridot, and Steven for a solid 20 seconds no less before Lapis actually does anything.
But not everyone has command over all the armies of Homeworld.
A few moments later.
This
This is an important mission from Yellow Diamond.
Again, Yellow Diamond isn't on trial here or anything, but if she really does have command over all of the armies of Homeworld, why did she send a single roaming ice spaceship filled with incompetent rubies to recover Jasper, since we're led to believe that Jasper was actually important to her? Why attempt to recover Jasper at all if Yellow truly believes that the Colossus emergence would have taken her out a full day ago? I'll tell you why. It's because the Cruniverse wanted to have a baseball episode without thinking about the ramifications of any of this. But let's get back to the walking contradiction that is Lapis Lazuli by discussing her worst incident. Lapis, after living with Peridot and Pumpkin for a few months, decides to leave the Earth when she finds out that Steven is currently being hunted down by the Diamonds, which is completely reasonable, except she tries to force Peridot and Pumpkin to come with her. Peridot naturally refuses, and when she does, Lapis rips the band out of the ground and takes it with her off planet.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Lapis returns in the episode Reunited and surprises everyone when she smashes the band into Blue Diamond.
What?
She didn't have to do this. The ocean is right there. How many times is Lapis going to be meters away from the ocean without doing anything useful with it? I'ma first get the shovel. Lapis is literally stronger with a cracked gemstone than she is with a freshly healed one. To make matters worse, Lapis doesn't even apologize to Peridot here either. She unironically breaks the ban, looks Steven dead in the eyes and asks him if he has room for one more gem.
You got room for one more?
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
I know that Rebecca Sugar and the Cruniverse had to rush through the ending of the show, but how much would it have really cost to have a moment where Lapis sits down with Peridot and apologizes to her for all of the terrible things that she's done to her? Steven Universe has a serious villain problem. Every single antagonist on the show has a disappointing or rushed redemption arc that definitely teaches the wrong lessons to its targeted audience. Everyone's except for Peridot's, of course. Peridot's redemption arc was phenomenal. I've shared my love for her journey throughout the series a few times already on the channel. The other antagonists and villains were all handled horribly though. They either never apologize for their past behaviors, or those who do apologize are too far gone for it to actually be believable. I mean, I hope we all realize that White Diamond breaking down and apologizing to Steven for quote-unquote hurting everyone in the entire universe is just like humans apologizing to vegans for being omnivores and eating meat. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far. It'd help me out a lot. Thank you.
This is where the traffic is. This is also where the traffic is. There's traffic here too.
Jasper is my favorite OG Homeworld gem. I'm a big fan of Peridot, and I've already ripped Lapis Lazuli apart countless times, but I've always found Jasper to be the most interesting. She grabbed our attention from the start in her terrifying debut in the Season 1 penultimate episode. We always had an idea that she was important to the overarching story, but she was only utilized as a villain of the week for the majority of Season 3. Until the episode Earthlings, where it got revealed that Jasper originally belonged to Pink Diamond and was made on Earth before succumbing to the effects of corruption herself. The next time we get to see Jasper after this is at the end of the series, when she has quite possibly the quickest redemption arc of all time. Rebecca Sugar confirmed in her ad book that Cartoon Network only gave them a handful of episodes to wrap up the show, so I'm actually not blaming the Cruniverse for the way that Jasper was handled at the end of the original series. I'm instead going to blame them for the way that Jasper was handled at the end of Steven Universe Future. How did that happen? How did they butcher Jasper's redemption arc twice? I mean, that's honestly impressive. At the beginning of Steven Universe Future, Jasper begged Steven for a rematch every chance that she got. She would eventually get her rematch after taking him up under her wing and teaching him how to control his new powers. Steven of course goes too far and actually ends up shattering Jasper. This was massive. I mean, at this point, we were told like a million times just how serious a shattering would be. It means the end of a gem's true self, something that the person responsible for the shattering would have to live with for the rest of their lives, something that can't easily be reversed or taken back. So Steven revives Jasper and she accepts him as her new diamond.
I bow to your strength.
You're supposed to be dead!
Steven reviving Jasper isn't the problem in itself. It's the fact that the Cruniverse clearly didn't have any plans for Jasper after her shattering. She doesn't appear during the final arc of the show, and she had to find out that Steven was leaving Beat City from some random source in Little Homeworld.
Heard you're leaving.
I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear!
The Diamonds' individual redemption arcs should have been handled way differently. The Diamonds had no problem with any of what they were doing for thousands of years, even with Pink Diamond around. When we were first introduced to Yellow Diamond in the Season 2 episode Message Received, she was literally in the process of conquering another planet while sitting in its moon base. The only thing that learning the truth about Pink Diamond should have realistically done was giving them some closure. In reality, they were right about Pink Diamond. She was playing games with them and wrapped them up in her biggest game yet by disappearing and leaving her son to deal with it. Learning that Pink Diamond was rose quartz doesn't prove that the society was broken. The only thing it proves is that Pink Diamond really fell in love with her first colony. Before the other diamonds caved and gave Pink Diamond her first colony, she behaved like a spoiled child. Believe it or not, I can actually buy that the diamonds wanted to fix the effects of corruption on Earth and wanted to take back the experiments on fallen crystal gems, because all of this was a byproduct of Pink Diamond's rebellion, and I truly believe that they loved her. Yellow Diamond is in charge of the armies of Homeworld. What are the armies of Homeworld doing now that the diamonds have chosen to sing Kumbaya and all become pacifists? All of those Homeworld Quartz soldiers would be in the exact same situation that Jasper found herself in at the beginning of Steven Universe Future. Do you guys remember how restless Jasper was before Steven shattered her? Heck, even after Steven shattered her and she was brought back, she was still left without a purpose. Isn't that funny?
That's not funny. That's super sad.
Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video and let me know if you agree with the points I've made down in the comment section. Take care.